So you're scrolling through social media and you see somebody flying their private jet, right? You're scrolling through social media and you see somebody with a brand new designer bag. You're scrolling through social media, you see someone with this fancy house, and you're wondering to yourself, man, this person has it all figured out. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. But look, in this video, I want to break down 5 different signs that you should look out for to really see if someone is actually fake rich. There's a lot of flexing going on Instagram, even on TikTok, even here on YouTube. There's a lot of stunting, and if you're not familiar with what that term is, that means that there's a lot of people showing off, but there's nothing actually there beyond what you see, beyond what you're actually seeing. So it's kind of like smoke and mirrors, right? I wanted to make this video right here because I see a lot of mounted pressure that people are getting that shouldn't be there to begin with, because they're seeing something that what I would call is fictitious. You're maybe looking at someone that you think has it all figured out, but believe me, they don't. I am in the world of content creation. I'm in the world of social media. You would call me an influencer, right? And I get to speak to a lot of these guys. I get to speak to a lot of these gals behind the scenes. And I get the inside scoop of what's really going on. Now, obviously, we're not going to name drop or call anyone out in this channel. That's not the point of this video, but this is so that you can look beyond the covers and really kind of think to yourself, okay, do these people have it all figured out? Am I missing something, or is this just a cover up that they have so that they can look better than what they really are? So the first thing that you really want to look for, and by the way, this goes for you as well, because you could be fake rich yourself. So the first thing that you want to look for is, are you buying things that are brand spanking new? Is it the latest and greatest? And if so, do you absolutely need the latest and greatest? One of the biggest expenses that the average American has is their car payment. Right around the average right now sits at $585. Now, that's not to sit here and say whether you should get into a car payment or not, but here is something that you should consider. Is the new car that you're getting into, could your 2017 or could your 2015 car do the same thing? Could your car that's maybe 10, even 12 years old do the same thing? Do you really need the built-in MP3 player, or do you really need the brand new built-in Bluetooth pickup, surround sound, the brand new wheels, the brand new rims? Do you really need all of that to get you from point A to point B? Now, do you want the working AC? Yes. Do you want the working heater? Yes. Do you necessarily need the heated seats? Now, this isn't anything to say or anything to hold you back from, let's say, reaching for something greater or going after something that maybe you want to upgrade. But I see a big trend with people that like to compete with themselves of, look, I need what my neighbors just got, or my family member just got this. So if I don't have the brand new model of the iPhone, the new Samsung Galaxy, if I don't have the brand new car parked outside of my driveway, then I'm falling behind with what everyone else is doing. Because a lot of times being fake rich derives from not having an identity in who you actually are, because you're always comparing yourself to what other people do and what they're actually what their lifestyles are like. So that's the first thing. Here's the second thing. A poor person, or rather a fake rich person, is always talking about money. One of the things that I've noticed, especially as I network, especially as I mastermind with other business owners, and I get around big thinkers, which is one of the key attributes if you want to do anything in life, is you have to become a bigger thinker. Whether you are creating content on social media, whether you're running a business, even as you're raising a family, whatever stage you're at, or if you're in school and you're getting your degree, becoming a bigger thinker is important. And I've noticed that one of the key attributes that wealthy people have, that have successful businesses that aren't fake rich, that own just about everything they have outright, have multiple businesses spread out throughout different industries, is that they don't just talk about money like a fake rich person does. I noticed that there's a direct correlation with fake rich people always posting about money or talking about money versus people that actually have it. You don't see that. Putting it another way, broke people talk about money while wealthy people talk about ideas. Those are two totally different case studies. Those are two totally different scenarios. You have the person that's talking about the idea not going to attract finances their way, but it's also going to change a community. It's going to change lives. It's not only going to change their life. A person that's always talking about money is because they are constantly in the hunt to pay their bills. They're always in the hunt to buy the next best product. They're always in the hunt to go to the mall and splurge and get that money. The minute that it comes in, they're looking the fastest way possible to get that money off of their hands. We saw it when stimulus checks first came out. I went to the mall around when the first round, second round, even third rounds of stimulus came. And I started seeing a correlation that right before those stimulus checks were hitting bank accounts, I noticed that the malls and even grocery stores weren't as full. The minute that those stimulus checks hit bank accounts, you saw the malls flooded. Now, obviously, the point of a stimulus check is to stimulate the economy, but some of the things that I started to see in some of the stores, designer stores, I'd say I saw a TikTok the other day, right around a 3-hour wait to get into a Gucci store. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't just want you to think of a special whenever they say, oh, Gucci, a new Gucci belt is now 50% off. I want you to think of it the other way. The Gucci belt you're looking at is 50% on, meaning it's still costing you money. So the third way to spot a fake rich person and to really see if you're a fake rich person yourself is that fake rich people tend to rent assets, but they own more liabilities. Now, this right here, we really have to sit down and talk about this right here. You really want to slow this part down because a fake rich person owns a bunch of liabilities, possibly the watch that they leased out or that they're financing off of the credit card, which we're going to get into credit here in just a second because we do talk about credit quite a bit on this channel. They have the car that they're financing. They have possibly the house that they're renting, where they live. But then they're renting a bunch of assets, meaning their car that they have. That could be an asset, especially if they wanted to turn it into Turo or if they wanted to Uber. You immediately turn that into a cash flow machine. But instead, you're using it to again flex on people because you possibly want to be seen or these people want to be seen. But the other side of that is that they don't actually own any real estate, whether you choose to live in the house or whether you choose to rent the house. You see, it's all about this rental and it's all about this paradigm that I'm just going to go ahead and rent for now because the market's too expensive, or I'm just going to continue rent because I can't really make up my mind of what I want. A lot of times what ends up happening where people try to time the market and when they're thinking to themselves, right now it's not the time to buy, or right now it's just a better time to rent. You notice that these people never ask these same questions whenever they want to go out and buy a car, right? Just kind of think about that for a second. When's the last time you spoke to someone that says, you know what? I'm not going to go out and maybe get some of these designer bags or some of these designer clothes, or maybe take this expensive trip because right now the market's a little crazy. And I think prices are going to start coming down for some of these things, right? Supply and demand. But when it comes to owning assets, even when it comes to buying stocks, it's almost as if they get cold feet and they say, no, I'm not going to buy that right now. The stock market is a little too high for me right now. The housing market is a little bit too high for me right now. But they're not asking the same questions about the liabilities that they're owning. They're only asking those questions about the assets that they're renting. Because again, it really comes down to just being a big excuse. Which leads us into our fourth point here, and that's this. And you've probably heard Jay-Z say this. If you can't buy it twice, don't buy it at all. I take it a step further and say if you can't buy it 3 times, don't buy it at all. But here's what fake rich people do. Because remember, fake rich people are all about getting seen, and it really comes down to it being a self-esteem thing, where if I buy this, it's going to make me feel better. Kind of like where we get the terminology shop therapy from, right? If I can't buy it twice, or if I can't buy it all, I'm gonna put it on the credit card. Or if I can't buy it all, I'm just gonna go ahead and finance it. And that becomes a dangerous game. Because remember what we mentioned earlier, and if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that we talk a lot about credit cards, you know that we talk a lot about credit hacks. But there is a place and there is a space where you have to use these things responsibly. The worst position that you can be in is have $500 to your name, have a 850 credit score, and not own any actual assets. That is the worst place that you can be in. I would rather see someone own a bunch of assets, have the car to their name, or at least able to make the payments where it's not even 10% of their income, and their credit be in the 700s. It's a completely different ballgame because it shows a completely different level of financial stewardship. I'm all about getting the reward points. I'm all about you going out and using your cashback dollars to buy your designer. I'm all about you using some of that money to take your free trips, check out those free dinners. I'm all about that. But when people are starting to carry balances, we know that the consumer debt is right around $6,800 for the average American. That's not even including student loans. That's just consumer debt, attacking on credit cards where 50% of Americans aren't paying off their balances in full. This is why on this channel I preach a lot. I'd rather see you not use these credit cards, especially if you can't, especially if you're carrying a balance. Look, I haven't carried a balance in, I'd say, well over 2 years since I've owned my credit cards, or at least some of the ones that I have now, because I don't carry any balances, but I still have the rewards that I'm getting each and every single month from me making those payments on time. You have to use your credit cards the same way that you would use a debit card, meaning you're not going to run up some of these purchases. If you only see $2,500 in your account, you're not going to run up the purchases to $2,600. You're obviously going to budget. But anyways, we're beating a dead horse here. Let's go ahead and go to the fifth and final way to spot a fake rich person, and this one's common, especially in this market that we're seeing today, and that is that they are house rich but cash poor. Now, I know what we usually think when we see someone with the big house. Wow, they have it made. I know what you usually think when someone invites you over, you pull up, they have the beautiful pool, they have the beautiful backyard, they live in a gated community, their neighbor to the left has a Porsche, the neighbor to the right has the new Range Rover. I get it, they have the Golden Doodle, they have 2 Dobermans, they have it all figured out, their kids go private school. I get it. But here's what's going on, especially in this market, kind of like what we saw in 2008, is a lot of people are house rich, but they're cash poor. This means that the majority of their money goes to that mortgage. The majority of their money goes to the upkeep of that property. The majority of the money goes to the insurance, the HOA, the lawn care, and they don't actually have any excess money left over. And this is when they go and this is where they kind of catapult themselves into this massive debt by running up some of these credit cards, or even worse, they start taking some equity against the house just to keep up with the Joneses, not to buy any assets, but again, to own more liabilities. So then you really start to wonder, are they really rich, or are they slaves to their debts, and are they slaves to what they own? So they don't really own anything. What they have in possession actually owns them. And so I wanted to bring up these 5 signs and really key things to look at to see if maybe someone you know is fake rich. Because comparison is a heck of a thing. And sometimes we compare ourselves to people not knowing the full story. Or to even check yourself out, to maybe have a heart check and say, you know what? Maybe I'm right now coming off as if I'm fake rich, and maybe I don't need this brand new designer, or maybe this new car right now can hold off. Maybe I don't necessarily need the upgraded wheels because it's taking me from point A to point B. Try to create for yourselves milestones, merits, accolades, goals, where once I hit this right here, I'll go ahead and purchase that. Or once I have this much in my accounts, I'll go ahead and buy this. Take care of your investments first. Pay down and liquidate up to 10%, if not all, of your debt first. And really set that aside before you start to have a little bit more fun and earn your leisure with your money. So there you have it. Don't forget that anytime we're not posting on here, we're posting over on the Inside with Irv show, which is a podcast style channel. So if you like what we have going on over here, you'll love what we have going on over there. Once again, I appreciate you guys checking us out. Until next time, everyone, I will see you in the next video.